Well, the Cardinals just wrapped up their final home series, and so we're wondering how many of these current Cardinals will be back in Busch Stadium next year playing for the St. Louis Cardinals. Andrew and I are going to kind of say keep them or let them go on a few different free agents and potential trade candidates on this episode of Dealing the Cards. Hey, Andrew, we just witnessed another Andre Palante masterclass. It was great. And my favorite part of Andre Palante starting these days, Andrew, is every time it feels like someone has to pull up his numbers from when he's joined the rotation and be like, no matter what, Andre Palante should be in the 2025 rotation. And I'm like, yeah, I think we get it now. I don't think after every start we need to throw up his stat line and act like it's like brand new news that he belongs to the rotation. But I don't know. Maybe the Cardinals need to hear it. Anything?
I feel like they won't. I don't know. I feel like there's a world where they don't put him in the rotation next year because they have like 8 starters and he's not one of the ones that they're paying.
No. I mean, I think if that would have happened, then you would have seen him get squeezed in the rotation down the stretch here. I don't think there's any shot, unless he's bad in spring, that he doesn't have a rotation spot next year. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too optimistic about the Cardinals and their ability to understand how to make good roster moves. But I mean, there's just no way you watch how good Andre Palante's been and they're like, yeah, no, we're good. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But today we do want to talk about, okay, who are some guys that maybe will be in the rotation or in the lineup again, coming off the bench, whatever that is, bullpen. And who are some names that we think shouldn't be back in St. Louis next year? So we'll probably, I think, Andrew, how do you want to approach this? Do you want to say, do we think they'll be back or won't be back? Or do we want to say, should they be back or won't, or should they not be back? Which do
I think
prefer?
we can do both. I feel like should be is pretty easy for most of these guys. But like, do we think they will be back is a matter of how competent we think the front office is, which is a bit of an exercise these days.
You're not wrong. And it's so hard to predict too, because it's like, well, Mo was on Tom Acker with not Tom Ackerman, but with Mike Claiborne this morning on the KMOX. And it was like, okay, he kind of made it sound like he's gonna be pretty involved next year again. But I mean, who really knows? I mean, we just know he's not gonna be gone. So that's the biggest thing. So it's like, is Mo calling shots? Is it Bloom? Is it a combination? Like that all influences a lot of this too. But let's start with the guy who kind of got his like curtain call today, because we just don't. I mean, all these guys, we don't know if they're gonna be back or not, but it's Matt Carpenter. Andrew, should Matt Carpenter be back with the Cardinals next year? And then do you think he'll be back with the Cardinals next year?
I don't think he should be back with the Cardinals next year unless it's like a coaching role, which I think is possible. But as a player, definitely not. Will he be back next year? They were alluding to it on the broadcast. I was watching a little bit of the game and I was like, please don't. That would be like, I don't get it. Matt Carpenter said he wants to play another season, but like, I don't know. He's played with other teams before, so it's not like it would be like anything different where it would be like, oh, it's so weird to see Matt Carpenter in a Padres uniform, because we saw it last year and it was weird, but like it already happened. So
Yankees.
And he went to the Yankees and became Babe Ruth for like 2 months. So that was cool.
Back.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're going to bring him back next year. Honestly, I think if they want to there's other guys out there that I think they could go after that used to be on the Cardinals. And I feel like they might do that. But I think Matt Carpenter's time as a player here is done because he didn't really get much playing time anyway. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe at some point in this podcast we could sprinkle in, because I think I've got a random target for this offseason that I'm kind of like low key, like not like Tyler Glass now last year, but like one where I'm like, oh, it makes so much sense that they do this. It's a buy low, but it's a potential bigger name that I want to talk about. So if you've got like a random guy they should target, because you mentioned like potential some former Cardinals that they should go after. So if you've got a guy in your head, I've got a guy who should have been a Cardinal at one point, but wasn't, that I think would make a lot of sense. And I don't even think it's
who. Is it Max Scherzer?
No, it's not. I promise it's not even him. So we'll talk about it. I'll just tease that. If you guys want to let us know in the chat, I'll drop my little hint. Maybe I should save it for an off-season episode or something. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't wait. You said you think he'll be back?
No, I said I don't think he'll be back unless it's in a coaching role. In a coaching role, that makes sense.
I don't think he should be back, which is hard to say because Matt Carpenter is one of actually my favorite Cardinals ever. I think he's a great dude. He plays Cardinal away the right way. I know it, like the second extension went terrible, and so that really sucks. And it's really, I mean, without that, I think, man, like the way Cardinal fans view him, and I think long term they do view him in a really good light. But I think that kind of soured the taste a little bit. And then also Until recently, he's actually been pretty good. Like for the role he was supposed to play, he was about a little bit above league average, doing it against right-handed pitching well. I don't think he should be back though. I would love to see him on the coaching staff, but the fact that he's talking about wanting to play makes me think, I don't know, does he want to play if it's in St. Louis or does he want to play period? I think there's a world where they bring him back, but I think I would hope that even though, well, I don't want them to do it in general, but I hope it's one of those things where they kind of let the offseason play out. Cause I think there's like, even though I don't think I don't think there's probably a good way to sell it to me. I think there's a way that like it could be February and you're like, whatever, where they make the move happen, kind of like it was this year, except his roster spot was never really the one that was a huge deal. It did kind of restrict them for having Baker though. But like the Crawford one all season, we're kind of like, what is happening? But like, say they trade Alec Burleson to get something, and they let go. Like if they let go of some of these corner infield, corner outfield bats, then maybe there's a world where you're like, Carp probably doesn't belong on the roster, but he's not like as big of a nuisance if he's there, like roster construction wise. But I think how things are currently situated, it does not make sense to have him on the roster. So,
well, they did Phantom IL him like 5 times this year.
Well, I think it was Phantom IL because he actually had an oblique thing at one point. And I don't know what the other thing was. I think they could get in big trouble for doing Phantom IL, right?
Yeah, I know, but like everyone does it. Like Sonny Gray's on the Phantom IL right now.
But he's not actually on because it's like he has a legitimate injury. It's just he would have tried to pitch through it he would have. So it's like, if I stub my toe, well, that's probably not a big enough one. Like if I have like a sore shoulder, they could put me on the IL and it probably makes sense. But like, anyways, they can't, like, you could find an injury with a lot of people. It's true. And I won't totally bet. Anyways, let's move on for that. Another first baseman type, probably the biggest one, the one you see below our faces here, is re-signing Paul Goldschmidt. Again, he kind of talked about, that this could be his last series. It also could be playing a lot more games here at Busch for the Cardinals. We'll see. He kind of refused to give a comment on if he wants to be back, but that's Goldie. He's always been that way, very professional about handling his business off the field and on the field and putting in the right places and not having the wrong conversations, wrong spaces. I'm going to sneeze at some point, but here we go. You're welcome. I don't know where that came from, but Paul Goldschmidt, I'm going to say he shouldn't be back. I don't know if he will though.
Yeah, and that's really hard.
I'm going to say he won't. And I'm going to say it's because I think he would I don't know. This is pure speculation. I think he would like to be back, but I don't think it's like Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina where it's like they're not going to actually leave. I think there'll be offers out there that are maybe slightly more lucrative than what the Cardinals want to offer, or offer a better role. And frankly, could be on a better team. Like, I'm seeing $5 million in the chat. Like, there's no way Goldie's signing for only $5 million. Like, someone's going to give him 10, 15, 20 million. It's just going to happen. 20 mils on the high end. I don't really think that'll happen. But like 10 to 15 to a little bit higher. I think that's very possible. Could be Houston, could be Milwaukee, could be Arizona. Like, there's teams like that I think will convince themselves that Paul Goldschmidt can figure things out for them on a 1-2 year deal. And I'm also like, if the Cardinals are shrinking payroll potentially, like, do we really think they're going to really give a great competitive contract to a guy like that? I don't know. So he's another one where I'm like, I can see it going both ways, but I'm going to lean toward it's not going to work out. Not for a lack of trying. Like, I think the Cardinals want him back, but I just don't think it's going to work out for both sides. What do you think?
I don't think he should be back. I actually broke it all down. I did like a pros and cons list that got scalped by an AI site, which was great. We love that. I actually saw something that was like Goldie might get a qualifying offer, which I think is really dumb because qualifying offer this year is probably like what, 21, 22 million.
Yeah.
That would be like just a terrible waste of money.
And a team would know they had to give him a draft pick to get him too. So it's like, who would actually sign him? But
well, yeah, he wouldn't turn that one down. I don't think he would accept a qualifying offer.
I think so because like no one's going to top it. Like,
yeah,
no. So yeah,
so,
who knows?
I don't know. That would be really annoying if they did that. I would not be a fan. But I don't know. I think they might work something out. I think it's probably more likely than not that they do because they like their guys that they can sell jerseys for. They like all of that stuff, right? Like,
sorry, I'm just real quick. That you saw that he's projected to get the qualifying offer. I went and looked because I didn't even click on it as SI, and I'm like, these are usually.
Oh, is it an AI generated article?
Well, maybe, who knows? But it sounds like it based off because they quoted Jeff Jones, who wrote this, having never been on the open market before, Goldschmidt is eligible to receive a qualifying offer of $21.2 million. If he were to accept, he would return to the Cardinals on that price tag. If he declined, they would get draft pick compensation elsewhere. He did not say anywhere in there they are going to or probably going to give him that. It's just that they could do that.
I don't think they. That's a really dumb idea. Well, unless you colluded with Goldie and were like, "Hey, decline the qualifying offer and go somewhere else." Right? I don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, I think there's a chance they do it, and also, like, again, I doubt it, but I think there's a chance because of how thin the free agent market is that someone talks themselves into it. But I just can't. Like, what team would want to give up a draft pick to go get Paul Goldschmidt right now? I don't know.
Like a team that's really desperate to win,
I guess, but even then,
like
see how many people got mad about the Cardinals giving up a pick for Sonny Gray? Like, anyways,
I don't know. A team that could live without it, like the Rays, but the Rays wouldn't spend that much money on Paul Goldschmidt. So,
no,
I don't know.
We'll
Seattle's
see.
a good fit. Yeah, I hope they don't bring him back because I just want like new faces here, and I don't think like bringing back one of the key reasons why you lost this year is not a good recipe for winning next year. You know, like I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a thing to throw out there because there's been a lot of talk of like, okay, well, Goldschmidt could be the platoon bat with Alec Burleson because we know Alec Burleson struggles against left-handed pitching and also in general second half just struggles all around. It's not been good for Burleson, which kind of sucks.
But why would you pay $10 million for a platoon bat when you have one that's free?
Well, but like, do we have confidence that Luke and Baker is going to be like good enough to do that all year? That one I have more questions on. But
well, you can just you can also sign someone for less than that. Like I feel like there's other guys out there that you can get that are not a future Hall of Famer and will do the same job.
True, and it's also their platoon against left-handed pitching, which plays less frequently. So spending $10 million on that, $15 million is not as great. But here's
$2 million on that and got Albert Pujols, and he blew us all away. And
okay,
take that for granted out of everyone, but like you can find someone like that who is like.
Who could maybe do 50% of what he did, which is still an all-star, but he was like an MVP candidate in the second half. So, but here's the other thing. What if, because I've been thinking about this a little more, and one of these guys we'll talk about as a trade candidate later, because it just feels like the Cardinals are going to trade them. What if they had one of the catchers and if Ivan Herrera or Wilson Contreras start to play some first base? Like, if you look right now, the two best hitters on the year, WRC plus wise, is Wilson Contreras 140, and then Ivan Herrera, who's almost up to a 120 now.
Well, Ivan Herrera's played like twice in the last month, so
but I'm just saying, like, anytime he's been given, like last year, it was super small samples at the major league level. He was like a 120 WRC.
Which I don't get why they're not doing that. It's really dumb because they're out of contention, and I don't care how many stolen bases. Like these random guys, like you're playing the Rockies and the Giants. Neither of them have anything to play for. Like you're just playing spring training games now.
I know, man. I don't get it anymore. But so like that's where but they're not doing it. And so like if they're not, I don't know, they've got to trust Ivan Herrera to play more catcher next year. They just have to. But like again, this is gonna sound a little bit crazy. But I honestly, even with Wilson Contreras' improvement behind the plate, which he has been better, I'm not saying this is what they should do. I don't think it'd be crazy to move him to first base full time right now because you get his bat in the lineup every single day and he is a 40% above league average. Let me go check, but like that's probably a top 20 hitter in all of baseball. And clearly he keeps getting injured. He only played 84 games this year. He played half the season. And last year, even when he was not hurt as much and he DH'd a lot more, he played like 100 games. I don't even think he hit 100 games. Like as a catcher, you just don't play as much, even if you get to DH some. I would love to get Wilson Contreras' bat in lineup every single day. And then I would just think he'd probably hit better, not squatting for 9 innings every day too. Like, I just think he's too good. He's not like the thing with Ivan Herrera is he's 20% above league average. So it's like, okay, that's really good for a catcher. It's pretty good for a first baseman. We'll see what happens. But like Wilson Contreras' bat's well above good enough to, I mean, he had 15 home runs in 80 games. So like, again, I want him to.
I would much rather see though Luke and Baker than Pedro Paez because they're going to start Paez every day. That's just.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Contreras is the 26th best bat in all baseball per WRC plus this year. I'm just saying, I think it'd make a lot of sense to make sure he's playing at first every day. Again, and I'm saying that as someone who really respects Wilson Contreras' improvement as a defensive catcher, and he's probably their best defensive catcher right now, even with Pages. I mean, maybe Pages is a little bit better, clearly better than Ivan Herrera. But especially if they're going to do that Pages Ivan thing, it's probably the only way it works to have all three around, because here, should we do all the free agents first, or do you want to bounce around between trade candidates?
We can do the free agents first, I think. Yeah.
Okay. We'll get to Ivan Herrera later, but it's getting weird. But yes, I would love to see Wilson Contreras at first base. Let's talk about it more at some point. But okay, let's get to let's do the starting pitchers last. We'll do the relievers or a reliever next. But before we get to that, I just want to thank 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles, who's been sponsoring the podcast for a while. Again, if you are super into baseball cards, football cards, any other sports trading cards or collectibles, or Pokemon cards, a Mason Win two-way card, you can find all of that at 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're located at 9640 Olive Boulevard in Olivet. They're open 10 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And I know some of you have already gone down there. So if you guys have been to 314 before, let us know in the chat. Maybe let us know some cards you've pulled there. You can get single cards, boxes, packs, whatever you're looking for there. Follow them on Instagram. They have a very active account over there where they post some special cards that they have in store or different deals they've got going on. Check out 314 Sports Cards. Let them know we sent you too. And then, I teased this last time. I'll stop teasing every time, but we might even have our own product there at some point. So I think it'd be pretty cool. So Andrew's working on it. But go check out 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. And then also, Cardinal games are done for this year, but Mizzou football. Hey, Caleb Williams looked better today. It's getting better and better. The Bears look terrible though. So, and I'm not saying he's great, but he's getting better. You can go to a basketball game, Blues hockey, St. Louis FC, concerts, whatever you want to do this fall, winter. Use our code NewtNews over at SeatGeek for $20 off your first purchase of $50 or more. Again, a bunch of you use that already. It's great to save money anytime you can. So definitely use our code NewtNews over at SeatGeek to save $20. So
go to some Dodger playoff games too. If you get to play Caleb Williams.
Yeah, just everyone out here, everyone's watching today is like, yeah, let's go. One you have to drive to Chicago, the other you have to fly to LA. There's a little difference.
Yeah, well,
I mean, unless they play the Royals in the World Series. You know?
I'm rooting for that very heavily. But
will you go?
I will go.
Yeah,
if that happens.
That'd be legit.
Doubt it. Their pitching is not good right now. It's might even lose the NL West right now because the Padres get to play the White Sox.
Oh, you mean the Dodgers won't make the World Series? That's about the Royals. Yeah, I'm still. If I had to pick, let's do it right now. Who do you think right now would go to the World? I'm saying a Phillies-Yankees World Series right now.
You picked Dodgers-Yankees at the start of the year, and you're the only one of us that hasn't gotten that has both World Series teams actually going to the playoffs.
I mean, I'll still like root for that because that would be right. But like right now, I just think those are the two best teams. But
yeah, I mean, I'll just say Dodgers, Yankees because that would be fun.
Yeah, it would be really fun, like for base. And honestly, it's probably good for baseball to have those two teams in it. So I'd be rooting for that. I should root for that. Okay, so let's go to Andrew Kittredge, and then we'll talk about the rotation, and maybe we can touch on Sonny Gray's elbow thing because I don't think it's as big of a deal as people maybe think it is. But I mean, it's not great. But so it's Andrew Kittredge again. It's been a solid year, right? It's not like he hasn't been like, I don't know. It's probably easy to think it's been worse than what it actually is, but he's been solid. Again, he's going to be a free agent after the season. What is it? 4.10 FIP's not great, but 2.97 ERA. A little bit WAR positive. Again, strikeout stuff's not necessarily great. Home runs per 9 haven't been great this year for him, so it's been him a little bit. I mean, he's probably looking at, what do you think, like a 2-year, $8 million per year deal, something like that. Like,
yeah, something like that.
So I think, I guess, should they bring him back? I would say only if it's in like $8 million per year or less, and even then, that's a little bit risky with his age and what it's looked like this year. Will they? I think they will. I think they like the familiarity there. Especially if they end up trading a Ryan Helsley or something, they're probably going to want some continuity. So I'm going to guess they will bring back Andrew Kittredge, and I only think they should if it's a good deal. What are you thinking, Andrew? I
don't want to bring back Kittredge. Gallegos vibes in the chat right now. I don't know. I think the metrics aren't as good as he's performed this year, and that's always a warning sign with relievers because relievers can fall off very quickly. He's getting up there in age, and Yeah, I think having a lot of turnover in your bullpen year to year is pretty good. And I trust Time Bloom to make a decision to find somebody else next year that's not Andrew Kittredge. And yeah, I don't think you should re-sign him. Do I think they will re-sign him? I think it's about a 50-50.
Yeah.
They tend to like doing that. And they also sign really bad reliever contracts historically under Mo. So maybe they'll do that, right? They signed Keenan Middleton and he didn't pitch.
Well, that's an injury.
I
That's
mean,
not
yeah,
as fair to him. But
right.
and
But
also we keep forgetting Keenan Middleton's probably be back next year, so that'd be kind of nice. So
should they bring him back though? Because it's the same rate and he hasn't pitched in a year.
I think it's like a $6 million option or something like that.
I don't know. We'll see.
And I think I think should be healthy by spring. And they've also talked about briefly his impact, kind of like helping the bullpen out this year. So I think they like his presence around.
Remember when we did a Keenan Middleton emergency pod and nothing ever happened of it?
Yeah, Hey, at the time though, it was an interesting thing. So, club option for 2020. Oh, it's a $5 million club option. I'm 1,000% bringing back Keenan Middleton at $5 million for one, because it's basically a 1-year deal at that point too. I would totally do that. Actually, I would much rather. I would do that and 1,000% just not bring back Kittredge then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting. But I am a little bit worried coming off an injury on Middleton. But okay, so we've said basically we think no on Goldie, Carp, and Kittredge, but we think they actually will on Kittredge. Do we say we think they would on Carp and Goldie?
I don't think they will for Carpenter, but Goldie is like a maybe. I don't know.
There's a lot of maybes in this mix, and so it's hard because it's like we know some of them will come back. It's just hard to know which ones, and they'll a lot of them impact each other. Because if they bring back Goldie, that's less money to work with on some other things. So I don't.
I mean, with the free agents, I don't think they should bring any of them back. But you know what?
Hey, you're spoiling the starting pitchers one.
Okay, well. So, I think we talked about that a lot last week. So
I know. I think people figure we're out on it. But so Sonny Gray, real quick, we'll touch on that. It sounds like, I mean, I do agree. Someone put it in there that elbow stuff, especially the tendonitis, it could be a precursor to something bigger, forearm tendonitis. True. But they've talked about he was going to pitch through it. But they're out of it. So why even bother? So I actually wish they would have done it a while ago, like a couple weeks ago, instead of doing it now. But are you worried about Sonny Gray going into next year? Honestly, I'm kind of ready for a Sonny Gray like rebound year because I think we talked about the chat. I think like I'd say like a B- from this year. But like the strikeout stuff, getting hit over 200 Ks, the home runs are really the big issue for him. And I mean, I just think he could be like not saying like 2.8 ERA next year, but like low threes. Like I think he'd be great next year for them.
Yeah, I mean, Sonny Gray has the same home run rate as Lance Lynn this year.
Yeah, it's like top 5 worst in all baseball.
And the same as Shota Imanaga. So, I mean, at least we win in one aspect. But, I'm not too worried about it. Sounds like everything's mostly fine, but I'm also just like used to teams not necessarily being as straightforward as they should be with injuries, like Tommy Edman. So maybe at winter warm-up, we'll see that Sonny Gray's actually gotten Tommy John surgery and knows, we just forgot to mention it because we didn't think it was important. So
yeah, well, okay, to give him like them not disclosing the Edman injury is the problem, but the fact that it's just kept not progressing, that's the one I think we've overblown too much. Is that like it's recovery, like you can't predict that kind of stuff. Like when someone gets surgery and like it should be a 3-month recovery and it's not a 3-month recovery. Like the Cardinals, like it doesn't mean they handled his recovery right, but it's not like they lied to us. They just didn't know. And it's like if Sonny Gray has a forearm thing right now, they put him on the IL, and then like later this year he throws pitches and it aggravates more. Like that stuff happens all the time across baseball. So I want to blame him on that. And I do think like legitimately he was going to keep pitching if he had to. So. But we'll see. Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn, just loop them together because I think we can answer them separately. I say no to both, and I say
no to both, and I think they're going to bring back Gibson.
Okay, I actually, I'm leaning between. I think they bring back one of them. I just don't.
You think they're going to bring back Lynn? I don't think there's a chance they bring back Lynn.
One, the nostalgia factor. It just feels like it always draws them in. 2, like you could like that. I could see them squinting and be like, he had a sub-4 ERA, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, but his metrics were terrible.
I'm telling you what they'll think. I think they'll look at, not what they should do. I think it probably would be Gibson, but I wouldn't shock me if it's Lynn. I do think they bring back one. They should bring back none though. So that's fun. So, or if they bring back both, they have to trade some of these other guys. So we'll see. So yeah, going through the free agents, we don't think they should bring back any of them. It sounds like.
Yeah,
Do we think they'll bring back one of the starters? Maybe Kit, maybe Goldie. I think. Yeah.
I hope Mikolas gets his last start in Colorado, gets absolutely destroyed, and then just like that's it. Okay, like because I know he's going to get another start, and I hope it's the one in Colorado.
Hey,
he never does well there.
Well, or you could look at it as, which I mean, you get the part where they could buy themselves back in, but I think I'd rather see him pitch well in last start, and so some other front office is like,
No, him pitching well is going to be like, yeah, see, our extension wasn't so bad.
Nah, I don't. I think they're. I don't know. We'll see.
Did you see, I was at the game a couple of weeks ago, and I was walking around just like looking at some of the auction items, and there was a Miles Mikolas powder blue jersey that someone was selling for $50. And I was like, that's a good deal. Like, if I just stripped the letters off of it, then it was a good deal to me. Like,
yeah, should have bought it.
Yeah, but I couldn't be seen wearing a Miles Mikolas jersey, you know.
Oh man. Let's move to the trade side of it. So let's start with a fun one. Then let's talk about two like more like do they get rid of them, and then two of the young guys. Ryan Helsley. Andrew, what do you think they're gonna do with Ryan Helsley, and what do you think they should do with Ryan Helsley this offseason?
I think they're going to keep him, and I think they should trade him. I don't want to mess with any of the starter nonsense. I'll let some other team handle that because a good reliever can get you so much.
Here's what I think of you for that. Yeah, so Andrew's been kicked off the podcast for not agreeing with me on the Ryan Helsley starter thing. Oh, he's back. Okay. I would love for them to try him as a starter, but there's no way they're going to do it. I know they're not. I think they should trade him, and I think they will trade him actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because here's where I think it is. I don't trust that they're going to pull off an extension, and I don't think they
should.
Yeah, and I get afraid of it too. I don't love the idea of that. I also don't think. I think on this one specifically, I think they understand that Ryan having one more year of Ryan Helsley. Mo kind of talked about it. If you listen to his little thing with Mike Claiborne this Sunday, he kind of talked about it like, yeah, we're entering. I can't remember the word he used, but almost like like there's a challenge ahead of something they're like, man, I wish I had the words. But basically, I think he was kind of acknowledging, yeah, we've got to turn over the roster. Like we're gonna have to go into that. Like I don't know if rebuild is the right word, retool, whatever it is. That there's something different about it. I think part of that is they trade a Ryan Helsley because they understand they could get so much in return for him, and I don't think they want to extend him. I think they would at the right price, but I don't think Helsley's going to sign for that. So I do think you trade him. So I think they will trade him too, but we'll see. It wouldn't shock me if they kept him. It would shock me if they made him a starter, even though I love it.
I think if Mo's still in charge, he's going to be like, we can still win with the pieces that we have, and he's going to keep his all-star closer, and his all-star closer is going to get hurt. So
we'll see. We'll see. Hey, Judge just hit home run 55, so Andrew's crying right now because
I don't care. Because like, there's no MVP race. I don't get the Yankee fans narrative where it's like, oh, Judge is better than Ohtani. It's like, yeah, he is this year, but like,
yeah.
Also, just touching on the 50-50 season, do you think it's Ohtani's best season? Because I have some strong thoughts on
that. No, because wasn't there a year where he was fifth in Cy Young and like a top bat in the league? I think.
Well, he finished in 22. He finished fourth in Cy Young, but his OPS was only like 875, and every other year he's had a 1 dot. So,
I feel like
I think last year, I think it's his worst season since 2021.
Worst since 2021?
Yeah, because he just look at the numbers for two-way. Like it's crazy.
I'll have to look. I don't. My StreamYard gets weird if I pull up other browsers, but
I understand it. It's really cool that he did it 50-50 in the season that he was recovering Tommy John. That's probably going to cement him as one of the best players of all time. But I think we should stop glazing the 50-50 stuff because he's way cooler when he's doing both. And some people are like, let's pull him from pitching because no, that's really dumb.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, honestly, if I'm the Dodgers right now, I am kind of considering maybe not pushing him with pitching because this dude's worth $70 million right now, just the bat. So it would suck to lose him. But I don't know. You let him pitch, but it would scare me every time he goes out there that you're about to lose.
Imagine if he came back to pitch as a reliever in the playoffs and closed out the World Series by striking out Aaron Judge.
Okay, honestly, that would be a top 5 moment in baseball history at least if that happened. So Anyways, also I did see someone say, "Bro, Burleson or Lousy Sports." Like, I think Burleson's a sneaky trade candidate. We could talk about it. Let's talk about it. Do you think? I don't think the Cardinals are going to trade him, but I think they should
I think they
consider it.
should because look at what happens to all these years. I just want this whole roster turned over. If I'm being honest, like
No,
I
no
don't.
way.
I want a lot of these guys off the team next year, but like Burleson regressed a lot in the second half, and you look at second year Cardinal players and you get scared, right? Because you look at Tyler O'Neill's second year of being good, second year after being good, and you look at Nolan Gorman's second year after being good, and you look at Jordan Walker's second year after being good, and you're like, it's an alarming trend, and I don't really like it. And I think Burleson being gone, like it would hurt a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be this good next year.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see him being good next year. I just don't. I think it's more so like not that you need to trade Alec Burleson, but I think he should be. He shouldn't be off the table to trade.
Well, I think he has more
Hmm.
value, like to bring back a cost control starter. Like if you want to
Potentially.
trade him, like he could probably go to the Mariners for one of their lower end arms just by himself.
Like, what do you mean lower end? Like Bryce
Like
Miller, Brian
Miller,
Wood?
yeah,
I
not
think you have to
Woo,
give up more, but
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it's more like if there's a team that values Burleson over Gorman and you can get what you want from him, then I would trade Burleson instead of Gorman. But I'm not like I'm not like they have to trade Alec Burleson. I just think he's a guy you should legitimately consider moving along with Gorman. I don't think you trade Newt because I actually think his value is now lower than what you would want in return from him. Again, it's frustrating with injuries. I get it, but this isn't Dylan Carlson, and this really isn't Tyler O'Neill either. Should Newt be seen as a superstar, star in
Oh
the
yeah,
making?
Dylan
Probably.
Carlson year two is also just horrible.
Yeah. But like Gorm is a guy where I'm legitimately considered about his actual production or legitimately concerned about his production. Let's talk about Gorm here.
Look at his AAA numbers; they're not good.
Yeah.
He's buying like 199. His strikeout rate's still high. It's
Yeah.
bad.
I'm gonna say the exact same thing with Burleson or Gorman. Oh, actually, no, Gorman. I actually think they might trade him. I'm gonna lean toward they will. I don't think it's desperate though, and I definitely think they should consider it. But again, I don't think you make it happen just to do it. Like it's not Gorman is not the level of Tyler O'Neill, Dylan Carlson, where you just offload him just for whatever. If they think there's good value out there, you go do it. If not, then you hold on again and see what happens. But um yeah, but it's hard because it's like, what's good value for him? We could probably all disagree on what that means. And I also don't think he's a guy they've ever been like, we won't give up on. Or though I think that he's been a guy they've been willing to give up on before, but they've never found enough value in return for him. Like I know he was someone in the part of the Sean Murphy talks. Whenever they talk about who's untouchable, it's usually like been Donovan, Nootbaar, and Edmund, not Gorman. So what do you
Imagine
think?
if you pulled that off, but like you got Contreras instead of Murphy. That would have been William Contreras.
Oh, what if you had the Contreras brothers right now? Both of them.
That
That's
would
what
be
they should have done. That'd have been awesome. Because then you could have had him switch on and off catching and DHing.
yeah.
Oh man, that'd have been so fun. What do you think? Do you think they trade Gorman? Should they trade Gorman?
I don't think they should, and I don't think they will.
Okay.
It seems like the same thing where it's like we're gonna ride this guy out until he has either no value left or becomes a superstar. And between Carlson and O'Neill and Gorman, I feel like he's on that track, but hopefully he can actually be good, you know.
Yeah.
But I also don't think you're going to get anything for him at this point. You're not going to get anything like more than like a middling starting pitcher. Like you could probably get like a McGreevy or a Graceffo. Like if you're looking at like comps, like that's probably what you're going to end up with. Like someone who's going to
For
be
Gorman,
for Gorman, yeah.
McGreevy, Graceffo, he's
Like
better
someone who's
than
like
that.
whose ceiling is like a middling starting pitch, like a 3 at best.
Oh well,
Like hasn't reached that level yet.
Maybe. I think it's better than that.
Like I don't think you can get any of the Mariners' arms right now, unless there's one that like is just bad.
On his own, no, but like to be packaged with a little bit of other stuff, I think.
Like what else do you have to package? I don't think he can be the headliner.
I think he could be the headliner.
If it was like Gorman and Herrera and like a prospect, then yeah, maybe you could get one of them.
Yeah, we'll see. I think you could get like a proven 4-5 with the upside of a 3. Like McGreevy's not a proven 4-5. He's still like he's had one start and like a really
If you
good
could get like
and
Steven,
Graceffo definitely is not. You can get who?
like Steven Matz.
No, for Gorman?
Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think he holds that much. Look at his numbers in the majors. Look at his AAA numbers. They don't look promising at all.
No, I think he's still worth more than that, but we'll see.
And
Here, go ahead.
I mean, I don't think like, and I know the second you trade him for that, he's going to turn into a 40 homer bat. So like, I don't want to see that. So
here is my weird Gorman or Alec Burleson deal, but like probably a little bit more needs to be included. And here's the guy I think they should target. Luis Robert. I think it makes a ton of sense. They need a right-handed bat. He plays center field.
Is that the guy you were talking about earlier who was like, I think he should have been a Cardinal?
Really? Yeah, because they should have signed him in international free agency. Yeah. They didn't do it. I think he makes a lot of sense. Again, you don't overpay for him. Like, I'm not saying go send the world for Luis Robert, but like at the deadline, people are like, go send the world for Luis Robert. He has not been good. He's I think he's like an 89 OPS plus guy. He's not been good, but I think a lot of it's they're in the dumb Chicago White Sox. Like, honestly, I think the Cardinals should look at it like how other teams look at failing Cardinals, where it's like, go get him and he'll be better here than he was in Chicago.
I mean, who's been that other than like Kopech? I can't think of anybody who the White Sox have like.
Have what?
Like any like recent trades the White Sox have made, other than like Kopech, who's been really good for the Dodgers.
Yeah, but I mean, generally I've made. But like, so next year he makes $15 million. Then you have 2 club options for $20 million at 2026 and 2027. A Rooker, like I've seen that, like he's going to cost way more than a Luis Robert. And also, again, Luis Robert plays a decent center field, so that's like a positional value more important. And I don't think it's like I don't think it takes Gorman and Herrera and all. I think it's like Herrera plus a little bit more, or Gorman plus I don't know, like a decent pitching prospect and some Victor Scott, maybe. I don't even know if that's really real at this point. I just think Robert's value is tanked, especially because he gets 15, 20, 20. Like that's a good deal if he's good, but if he's not good, that's a bad contract. So I think the White Sox would look at it like, oh, we would rather have multiple interesting pieces than all this money wrapped into one guy. So I mean, you're at a spot where the Cardinals can't really afford to just fork out a ton of value. So I'd rather go buy low on some guys and see if they can pop off for you than to like buy Brent Rooker at peak value.
Yeah, I don't really want Rooker. Like
I would like him. I just don't like the price.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't give up what you have to give up to get him. And he's a DH bat. Like they're important. Like a lot of the good National League teams now have DH bats, but yeah, I don't know.
If he could figure out how to play first base, I'd be really interested. But so we'll see. Okay, a couple more real quick. We'll get to Herrera in a second, but let's do the starters. Miles Mikolas, Steven Matz. Let's do Mikolas first. Should they trade him? Yes. like there's no doubt about it. Will they?
No. They're not going to. Who's going to take on? Like we got this question at Q&A. I didn't put it in there because I didn't think it was like really that great of a question. But like it makes sense. Like who would be dumb enough to take Miles Mikolas on? Like I don't.
A lot more teams than people think.
But like who wants that? You can easily find that in AAA. Like it's not.
Yeah, kind of. But like again, like look at I'm not even trying to be annoying. Like I'm challenging people to go look at the 1-year deal signed by free agent starting pitchers last offseason. Like they usually get like $8 to $12 million, even if they're not that good. Again, a team isn't signing Miles Mikolas thinking or trading for him thinking he's gonna be this bad next year.
But I don't.
But I think a team like the Braves or something like that's kind of like, I mean, because we like look at the Dodgers this year. I'm saying like guys that like have had injuries upon injuries upon injuries where like they legitimately need to get through the regular season. And so if the Cardinals eat $12 million and it's down to a $6 million deal that they have to pay him for 1 year, like I think a team would say, hey, if we get 1 year of Mikolas and he gives us a low 4 ERA and he's 180 innings, that was definitely worth $6 million. And if he doesn't, then we DFA him and it's $6 million. It wasn't a huge deal for us. I think there's other teams that would be willing to do something like that, but it would require the Cardinals eating that money. I actually think they're going to do it. We'll see. I wouldn't be shocked if they keep him though.
I would take Mikolas on the Dodgers right now, by the way.
See what I mean? There's other teams that would take him.
I would actually much rather see him pitch than Bobby Miller and Walker Buehler. But that's fine.
I'm just saying. So I think there's definitely I think you can see a market for it for sure. So Steven Matz, I don't think you have to trade him. Like, I'm not in that camp. I think you should try though. And I just said they're gonna trade Mikolas. So do I think they would trade Matz? I'm gonna say they don't trade Matz.
I don't think they would trade Matz, and I think I said I think they should trade everybody. But like, yeah, I don't like this roster the way it's constructed. I want Heimblum to, well, if he even takes over, that's not even a given anymore. But like, if Heimblum takes over, I want him to remake the roster in his image, and I don't think Steven Matz would be on Heimblum's roster if he made it from scratch. So there you go.
We'll see. A couple more. Well, actually, really one more I want to hone in on. But then if there's other names you want to throw, is there any other names besides Ivan Herrera? I think we should finish with them. But any names you would want to throw in there besides him?
Can we talk about Donovan and Nootbaar?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm gonna say no and no.
I don't think they're gonna trade either of them, and I don't think they really should. But I'm trying to think about other names.
I mean, I think specifically in Donovan, he's the backbone of the team. I think he's the leader. He's the guy you could put anywhere. I think he's super valuable.
Arenado.
And he's okay, yeah, we can do that. But then Donovan, like, I don't think you're getting enough in return for him to make it worth it for you. He's one of the few offensive bats that didn't really like majorly regress this past year. I think his leadership's really important. So I don't think you move a guy like that. Again, I'm not trying to say he's a superstar, but like what you get in return, I don't think you matters. Yeah, the Blue Jays love Nootbaar, but like they loved him for Danny Jansen. Like, do you want to trade Nootbaar for Danny Jansen type? Like, no, I would rather see what happens with him. Again, I know there was a point there where I was like, Newt is struggling offensively in a way that's really annoying. He's kind of rebounded, and we continue to see this thing with him where it's like he gets injured, he comes back, he plays really bad for a little bit, and then he figures it out. He plays really, really well, and then he gets hurt again. And it's like, but his injury stuff feels different than Tyler O'Neill. I think you roll with him one more time. Unless, I mean, if there's like a blown away deal, like you can package a bunch of stuff to get Logan Gilbert with him, or honestly, even Brian Wu or Bryce Miller straight up, you consider it, but I don't think those deals are going to happen. So,
yeah, and the Rockies don't have anyone that we like this year. So, some of these organizations, I don't know what they're thinking. The Rockies are one, the Angels are one. I think the rest of them are like all pretty, like fairly smart. The White Sox, I guess, but.
Also, I think the Scott brings up a decent question on here. It's like, do a lot of these moves come down to Mo sifting for fool's gold, keeping some of the worst players on this team? Smoking opium, geez, or Bloom moving all the dead weight and having a 3-year plan. I mean, I do think like it's hard to answer these questions fully until we know who's in charge. And then even when Bloom's in charge, it's like, I mean, like, even though we want Mikolas gone, like if they're gonna, like, honestly, if they're gonna like rebuild, honestly, maybe it makes more sense to keep Mikolas and trade Fetty, because Fetty has trade value, right? It's like maybe you free up some spots to start for young guys, but you do it by trading guys who have value, and then just like whatever, throw Mikolas out there because you have to throw someone out there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much influence Mo has versus Bloom. But what do you think about Nato? Do they trade him? And
I don't think they're going to trade him, but I think they should look at it.
I'm with you.
Like, see, here's the thing, right? The DeWitts love saying on opening day, we've had a Hall of Famer every year in uniform. So I come back to this every time because they say this like every day. And yeah, if you don't bring back Goldie and if you trade Arenado, then you really don't have that unless you sign Max Scherzer.
Yeah,
but maybe Ollie's the Hall of Famer uniform. Because I think when McGuire was here,
Willie McGee,
yeah,
Albert Pujols as the manager.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There you go. Because when McGuire was here, he would have been a Hall of Famer if not for the steroid stuff. But
true,
there was that stretch where the Hall of Famer was La Russa.
Yeah, and that's where one thing I think, like, I mean, I know they say that, but I don't know if they're like, I don't like. Again, maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I don't think there's like. But do you like legit like here? Listen though, legitimately, do you think like they have a deal lined up where it makes so much sense baseball operations wise to trade Nato? Everyone in the room's like, this is the right deal to make, but then DeWitt just goes, But what about the Hall of Famer uniform every year?
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Like,
But
so like
would,
that's. I think they value that, but I don't think they're like especially in we have
they would
not
just bring
seen.
Yachty as the manager.
Honestly, they could do something like that, but like we have not seen since really the DeWitts came into leadership for the most part. I mean, like early on a little bit, but like we haven't really seen them have to make like a retool, rebuild, pivot before. So I mean, I think part of the reason like they could field a winning team and make those weird moves like that. I don't. To be fair, you could do on a rebuilding team too, but I don't know. I know that's the thing they value, but I don't know if they value as much as they won't do the right thing. But I don't know.
We're not
Too much credit.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, there's people freaking out right now because apparently Yachty said he might sell his basketball team, thinking that he might be coming back. So
that would be great. Please sell your basketball team. He should have sold it 2 years ago. Whatever.
oh. Here, I'm gonna read this quote from Wilson Contreras. Not having read it yet, so it's from Jeff Jones. Just got posted. There's some areas that need to be addressed. Contreras said, "I don't know if the front office is going to." Whoa, okay, Wilson. But we didn't come together as an offense at all during the whole year. There's a lot of holes throughout the lineup as well, 1 through 9. Whoa. The only thing we can control is show up next year and keep working. But as an organization, I think the Cardinals are one of the biggest organizations in baseball. And if I was them and I was the front office, I'd be hungry to own the division. We haven't owned the division in the last 2 years. Whoa. Then he was asked what areas need help. And he said, that's a good question for the front office. I'm not going to answer that question, but I think you look at the numbers on offense and you'll notice what's possibly missing. Oh my gosh. Whoa, Wilson.
Well, he's traded.
Will Wilson get traded? Probably. Should he?
Now because of that. Because, oh man.
Jeez. I'm props to Wilson for saying what needs to be said. Jeez. Man. Oh my goodness!
He's basically just asked for Juan Soto. That's what I heard.
Well, I mean, not gonna lie, I think part of it could be he's like, "You're really about to bring back Paul Goldschmidt? You're really about to do that? You're really about to re-sign Matt Carpenter? You're really about to do that? You're really about to tell me that Nolan Gorman's gonna fix the offense again?" Like, I think he honestly kind of might be going like pointing fingers at some other people, being like, "Y'all need to figure your crap out." So, did you see that those the numbers I posted the other day from their lineup pre-deadline, post-deadline?
From that article, I think so. I skimmed it. I don't read all your articles, Josh. I'm sorry.
Wow, I have to read yours because I have to edit them.
That's true.
I'm just kidding. But like here's most. Well, I didn't left out. Let me pull up the actual article because I left out my tweet Contreras' numbers. But this is pre-deadline.
Tony's on the front page of Redbird Rants.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably that Andrew wrote. Here's pre-deadline. So the first number I'll say each time is before the trade deadline 2023. The second number I'll say each time is what happened after the trade deadline. Paul Goldschmidt was a 129 WRC plus guy before the 2023 trade deadline, which is crazy. Post 102. So from the second half of last 2 months of 2023 through 2024. Arenado 122 down to 94. Wilson Contreras was 114 up to 146. Good on Wilson. Nootbaar 123 down to 107. Gorman 120 down to 91. Brendan Donovan 118 down to 114. So slight drop off. Walker 108 down to 101, but that's because he had a really strong last 2 months of 2023. Alec Burleson's up from 86 to 104. So I mean, most of the guys regressed big time. It was pretty tough. So jeez, Wilson, what a guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mean, I'm glad he said what needed to be said. Good stuff.
I just hope it doesn't get him traded like Randy Arozarena.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
The Edman trade turned out to be a bad trade. Edman is going off with the Dodgers. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's gonna matter how much that he does next year, but
I mean, yeah. We should have just whatever.
Anyways, I mean, it just sucks too because they DFA'd Pham and yeah. But like, would you rather? I mean, do you want Tom yet? I mean, I don't. Anyways, that's a whole can of worms you don't need to open. But okay, last one. Ivan Herrera. Should they trade him? Probably not.
No.
Will they trade him? Oh, will they trade him? Yes.
Will they?
He's out of options. I don't know what they're gonna do with him.
Yeah.
So like that's the reason why I'm like they shouldn't trade him, but they're probably going to, and I might be like they kind of need to
When are they going to send him down next year? Why would they need to use the option?
because the Pedro Pages thing. Like that's why I'm like if they value Pedro Pages as a backup, are they really going to carry 3 catchers next year?
They've done it before.
Yeah, for short stretches.
And none of these guys are Ali Sanchez or whoever else.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they carry 3 next year, but like again, I think it should be Wilson Contreras and Ivan Herrera next year. I think Pedro Pages should be in AAA and come up if there's an injury. But if they really value Pages, like here's the worst case scenario: they bring back Herrera and they don't trade him, and then they get to the end of camp and they're like, "Oh, we actually want to have Pages on the roster." Then like, what do? You cannot DFA Ivan Herrera. That would be a nightmare.
Yeah, no.
So that's why I'm like, they should teach one of them or have one of them transition to play some first base. Like if Ivan could play some first base, that'd be really helpful. Or I think Wilson makes a lot of sense there. But so I don't know. Or
he wasn't even that good of a defender. Like he's not.
I don't know. You definitely can't bring back Matt Carpenter if you keep all 3 catchers. But
I don't think. Yeah, Matt Carpenter. Ugh.
I know. Or Paul Goldschmidt. You can't keep
just like Phantom IL him the entire year if you want to bring him back. Just don't ever have him play and then have him take one at bat at the end of the season. You know,
he only plays in like iconic homestand moments. Like he gets a Cubs series at bat in Wrigley because he's so good there. But Ivan Herrera, second best hitter on the roster. Or I guess he hasn't played a lot of time. So second best hitter on the roster this year with the 119 WRC plus. So kind of tough to trade the one guy who's actually hitting outside of Wilson Contreras. Also, last year, the Cardinals had 5 players before the deadline above 120 as the WRC plus. Another guy, I think it was Donovan, was just below. And then they had Walker, who was ascending, and someone else. This year, they have one guy who's 20% or better, and it's Wilson.
Remember when you guys had bold predictions? There was like 5 guys are going to have our WRC plus over 120 or something like that.
But like last year, they had that. Like that's where I'm like, this is mind-boggling. What is happening?
I know.
So, but I mean, to Wilson's point, like they have holes, and you can't just they can't just sell themselves on we're just going to do this again. But I don't know. We'll see. Any other candidates you want to throw out there? I feel like we're maybe toward the end here.
Mo.
Should he be back?
No.
Well, as an advisor, I don't care, but no. Will he be back? Yes. Do you think he's full control again?
Yeah.
I don't think it's as much change as I wanted, but I think there's other voices elevated toward his level where it's more collaborative the last year, which makes more sense. Like he can't just call all the shots one more time. That doesn't make sense. But we'll see.
Maybe Mo will have an Albert Pujols-esque second half, and he'll come back and do what he did.
Honestly, with the amount of times it's worked out nostalgia-wise, maybe they do kind of go. Maybe Mo pulls out 2011-esque moves, and
it'll be like Mo's final season. That'll be the marketing, and then he'll get a speech.
Oh my gosh. Maybe because like leading up to 2011, like they brought in Lance Berkman on a great, like he just ended up being a fantastic signing. Flip Colby Rasmus for like the most random assortment of pieces that like they all kind of were like perfect fits for them. So I'm trying to think, like, do they sign like JD Martinez or something? He pops off for them, and then like they flip Nootbaar for like these weird assets that like win them worlds. Anyways, it's not happening. But
should Mo get a speech?
Should Mo get a speech?
He should have just announced it yesterday when they were eliminated.
Oh,
and then gave a speech today.
I mean, he's gonna his Cardinal induction, Hall of Fame induction, but and also like I mean people could choose how they want to feel about people. I don't blame people for being mad at the end, but I once we get some distance, I hope they do give him some like props.
Will Mo's red jacket have a red bow tie?
It will be. I cannot wait to see the day whenever that happens. Like
because he like dresses the same every day. Like he always wears the exact same suit.
He doesn't wear the bow tie anymore though, as much.
Does he not?
He wears a lot of like the open collar now. He wears some Chuck Taylor sometimes. Sometimes he wears the no-show, like the shoes with the no-show socks and like no socks or whatever.
Does he get all that in red, like as induction ceremony?
That would be really funny though. If he just like comes out like red shoes, red pants, red bow tie, red jacket.
Just like all the Bond villain stuff in red.
Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you for the. I need to work on my Mo voice. I had a decent one for a little bit, but
Mo
Bernie does it.
I would get a Mo bobblehead. I would go and show up just like I did on Friday for the Nootbaar bobblehead. Take one and leave.
And then next time we do like, will they not they? It's like, will they re-sign Goldie? And we're just like shaking yes, bobblehead. Will they re-sign Gibson? Yes. Oh my gosh. Anyways, well, thanks for tuning in. I know it's not fun times in Cardinal baseball land, and this is like the worst type of year. He deserves to be.
Oh, he does, because like last year he didn't do that.
Yeah, he does deserve to give an end of year speech because we deserve one. But yeah. And again, there are good things to acknowledge, but yes, it's time. So don't hit Mo's water, please. Anyways, we appreciate the support as always. Like the channel, or like the episode. It helps us out a ton. Share, subscribe if it's your first time listening. Again, check out 314 Sports Card Selectables. Use our code SeatGeek as usual if you want for a discount on tickets and stuff. Again, we always really appreciate the support. So thanks for tuning in during such like a weird time. We're really excited for the playoffs to start because playoff baseball is fun. And then obviously once the offseason gets going, we'll have a lot more to work off of rather than us all kind of speculating what we think is going to happen. We'll have some meat on the bone to kind of start rolling with. So you can expect a lot of us this offseason. Again, appreciate the support because you guys make this channel what it is. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Lynn.